Hey everyone, so today we're going to be learning about the Pythagorean theorem. So you want to make sure that you have your spiral, a pencil, and a calculator. So why are we learning this? Well, the Pythagorean theorem describes the special relationship among the sides of a right triangle. You can use these theorems to find the side length of right triangles in structures such as bridges. So the Pythagorean theorem says that in any right triangle, the sum of the squares of the length of the legs is equal to the square of the length of the hypotenuse. So here I have a triangle. You want to draw this picture in your notes. You see, this is labeled a leg, this is labeled a leg, and this is the hypotenuse. To find the length of all the legs, you can use a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Your legs are a and b, and your hypotenuse is c. So your leg squared plus your other leg squared equals your hypotenuse, c squared. So let's try practicing this. So we know that our legs are always connected by the right angle. The legs touch the right angle. The one that is across is going to be our hypotenuse. So here we have two legs. So A can be our 8 squared. B can be our 6 squared. And we don't know what C is. So again, A, B. I can switch these, but they both have to be our legs. So a squared is 64, and 6 squared is 36. And if you need to, you can use your calculator. Make sure you are showing your work just as I am. So now we're going to take 64 plus 36 to get 100. Notice I'm keeping my work nice and neat. You need to have this in your spiral. So now I need to unsquare this c. So we learned about taking the square root. So the square root of 100 is 10, and the square root of 2 c's is just 1 c. So our hypotenuse length is c. So let's look at this one. It tells us that we have two legs. So I'm going to use a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we know the legs are a and b, so I'm going to plug in 3 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. I can use my calculator and I get 9 plus 16 equals c squared. Again, my work is nice and neat and I have it written down. So now I know 9 plus 16 is 25. And I always have to make sure that I take the square root. So c equals 5. If it has a label, we should label it. So 5 feet. If it doesn't have a label, you don't need to worry about it. So I want you to use a squared plus b squared equals c squared and plug in these values for your legs to figure out what c equals. So you should have plugged in 6 for A to get 6 squared, 8 for B to get 8 squared, and we're looking for C squared. So find what 6 squared is, which is 36. 8 squared is 64. Add them together, get 100, and take the opposite, which is the square root, and C equals 10 feet. Go ahead and try this one on your own. Again, using a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So you should have plugged in 21 squared plus 28 squared equals c squared. When you add them together and figure out what they are, 21 squared gives you 441. 28 squared gives you 784. You add them together, and you get 1,225. Take the square root, and you get 35 meters as your answer. Try this one on your own. Again, make sure you write down a squared plus b squared equals c squared. You should have gotten an answer of 20 centimeters. 12 squared plus 16 squared, you get 144 plus 256 equals c squared. Add them together, take the square root, and 20 centimeters. So let's look at this problem. It shows you an architect drew the sketch of a bridge shown below. The bridge has 12 feet long horizontal members and 24 feet long vertical members. What is the length in feet of each diagonal? We want to round to the nearest foot. So we know on a triangle that we have to have A, B, and C. So here we know what A is. It tells us that these lengths are 24, so we know what our B is, and we're looking for our diagonal. So we're still using A squared plus B squared equals C squared, and we're trying to find what C is. So I'm going to plug in 12 squared plus 24 squared equals c squared. Go ahead and solve this on your own. So we should have gotten 144 plus 576, which gives you 720. You want to take the square root, and you should get 26.8. So we know we want to round up to 27 feet. Go ahead and try this one. It's exactly like the problem before. If it helps, you can draw a triangle. The vertical, up and down, horizontal, left to right. For this problem, you should have seen that 22 feet is your horizontal, 25 feet is your vertical. So 22 squared plus 25 squared, so 484 plus 625 gives you 1,109. Take the square root, and you want to round its nearest foot, so you got 33.3, so we round down to 33 feet. This says a wheelchair ramp that leads into an apartment building doorway is 5 feet above the ground. The horizontal distance from the entrance to the end of the ramp is 16 feet. What is the length in feet of the ramp? So we know that it's going to be 5 feet above the ground. The horizontal distance from the entrance to the end of the ramp is 16 feet. What's the length of our ramp? Go ahead and solve this problem. You should have gotten an answer of 17 feet. 5 feet squared plus 16 feet squared, so 25 plus 256 is 281. Take the square root, you get 16.7, so you round up to 17. You need to go back and make sure you took the notes. You must have your work written out, just like I did on the slide. I will be looking for that tomorrow when you come to class. Go back and listen if you need to. Write down any questions you may have, and then don't forget to go to the Kia website, click on the link to answer the question. See you tomorrow.